Argentina says Britain has sunk its cruiser. The Defence Secretary says Britain's got a right to invade the Falklands. Good evening. The Argentine Chiefs of Staff have reported on television in Buenos Aires tonight that their cruiser, General Belgrano, is presumed sunk after a British torpedo attack. They gave no word about her crew of 1,200 men. The weather there is bad and said to be freezing. The General Belgrano was Argentina's only cruiser, an elderly ship that some British naval experts are surprised was on a mission at all. She was attacked by a nuclear-powered submarine just outside the maritime exclusion zone off the South Falklands. The Minister of Defence in London says the cruiser and her escorts were a threat to British forces and had been dodging in and out of the zone. It's possible she may have been trying to see if a British assault force was on its way. From Buenos Aires, a report by Norman Rees.
News of the probable loss of the General Belgrano was read to international journalists by a somber-faced Argentine government official. Sources here say that 5 Argentine ships have been searching for the badly damaged cruiser since it was hit by British torpedoes sometime yesterday. Reports of the sinking of the 13,000-ton vessel, the second biggest ship in Argentine's navy, has just been broadcast to the nation by Argentine television. The cruiser, built in the United States and a survivor of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, had a crew of more than 1,000. There is no news of whether there are any survivors. The cruiser was hit while patrolling south of Estado Island off the southern tip of Argentina in some of the world's most inhospitable seas. It's the first loss of a naval ship the Argentines have admitted. And the question Argentines are asking tonight is why the British fleet attacked the cruiser when it was outside the total exclusion zone and was not defying the British blockade. Norman Rees, ITN, in Buenos Aires.
The Defence Secretary, Mr John Knott, has said tonight that Britain has the right to invade the Falklands. He said it to our political editor, Glyn Mathias, at his news conference. He said military pressure was not an end in itself, but it would go on unless Argentina withdrew its forces.
So it is our solemn purpose to achieve the military objectives to which reluctantly we have been compelled, using the minimum of force and with the least loss of life on both sides, commensurate, of course, with our overriding duty to defend our own ships, aircraft and men. I do not pretend that our forces face an easy task. Early success is certainly encouraging. We are confident that our mission will be successful, but we will never be overconfident, nor will we boast of our successes. In conclusion, perhaps I can quote the most famous of all our naval heroes, Admiral Nelson, who said before Trafalgar, I believe, that magnanimity in victory will be the main aim of the British fleet.
Does the right to self-defence include the right to invade the island if necessary?
We have always, from the very outset, said that we would operate in self-defence under Article 51 of the Charter. These islands are British. British people are on these islands, and certainly we have the right under Article 51 to recover them.
So the right to invade the island would be included under self-defence, in your view?
Most certainly, most certainly.
Brazil says it will sell to Argentina an unspecified number of modern anti-submarine and naval reconnaissance planes. This morning, Latin America heard that Argentina's cruiser had been torpedoed. Soon afterwards, an Argentine patrol boat was sunk and another warship, possibly a corvette, was damaged by missiles from British helicopters. John Underwood has the details.
The attack on the General Belgrano was said to be fully in accordance with the rules of engagement issued to British forces in the South Atlantic. We now know those rules of engagement are wide-ranging and allow the task force to attack any ships or aircraft that come close to the fleet. What happened yesterday was that Belgrano, along with its 2 escort vessels, came close to the edge of the 200-mile total exclusion zone. The pre-Second World War cruiser, which once survived the attack on Pearl Harbor, was not destined to have quite so much luck off the Falkland Islands. The Conqueror, a nuclear-powered hunter-killer submarine, which may have been tracking the Belgrano for several days, loosed off 2 torpedoes. They may have been guided Tigerfish torpedoes, but they may also have been standard Mark 8 weapons, which could have been fired in quick succession, hitting the elderly ship between the waterline and the keel. The ship was badly damaged, and it seems it may now have sunk. In the second incident, an Argentine Naval Auxiliary patrol boat opened fire on a Sea King helicopter. The Sea King radioed its position and made off, but 2 Lynx helicopters armed with Sea-Skua missiles flew to the scene from HMS Hermes and attacked the Argentine patrol boat. It sank almost immediately. The helicopter dropped life-saving equipment, but was reported as giving up the search for survivors when its fuel supply ran low. Soon afterwards, another larger Argentine vessel came under attack from the same helicopters. Submarines are one of the main fears facing the task force, and when the Argentine patrol boats attacked the Sea King helicopter, it was almost certainly scanning the seas around Hermes with sonar, searching for Argentine submarines. But after 3 days of hostilities, where do we go from here? One view from retired Admiral Weems.
I think we're moving in very well constituted steps with meticulous planning before each, remembering all the time that we are not there to kill people. We are there to get the Argentinians out of the Falklands.
But will it be possible to get the Argentines out of the Falklands without killing people?
I believe so personally, and I also believe we are moving in this step-by-step manner with that aim.
Tonight, government sources are trying to play down the possibility of an imminent invasion of the Falklands, but speculation continues that with little sign of a diplomatic solution, the chances of a landing remain strong.
The Argentine patrol boats which came under attack had been spotted by a Sea King anti-submarine helicopter on a surface search operation. They fired at the helicopter. The pilot of another Sea King describes what happened when the Lynx attack helicopter was alerted.
The Lynx helicopter then closed the hostile contact and attacked with 2 Sea-Skua missiles. Shortly afterwards, he reported 2 missiles hit. He then went inbound to investigate the damage he'd caused. He then reported that the contact had sunk. A second Lynx helicopter was tasked to look for survivors. Whilst he was looking, he was fired upon by another contact. He was given permission to attack that contact and did. He was then asked to look for survivors, but being short of fuel, he then returned to his ship.
The Foreign Secretary, Mr. Pym, told a news conference at the United Nations in New York that diplomatic efforts for a peaceful solution would go on. We'll keep in touch, he said. But he flew back to London tonight without committing Britain to any specific peace plan. Our diplomatic correspondent Trevor MacDonald reports from New York.
The Foreign Secretary, Mr. Pym, was at the UN to see the President of the Security Council. After his meeting, I asked the Foreign Secretary whether he felt that escalating military action was going to force the Argentines to the negotiating table.
They are occupying that land unlawfully, and they ought to go. That's the way to bring peace back, and I think that the military action, which we hoped to avoid because we hoped that sense would prevail in Buenos Aires, that action, I hope, will cause them to change their minds. And all I can say is that in the case of the cruiser yesterday, that posed a serious threat to our forces, and so they took action. We had a helicopter that was attacked by 2 ships, and they received the appropriate response. So I hope that as a start, at any rate, the Argentines will respect that total exclusion zone, respect it, and we're there to protect what is British territory. And the choice is really theirs. We don't want to make any further attack on them or anything at the moment. We want them to withdraw.
My comment would be that that is a clear case of gunboat diplomacy that was widely practiced during the 19th century, mainly by the great imperial powers. And that is clearly intended to attain diplomatic victory through military force.
A UN spokesman said this afternoon that the Secretary General had postponed a trip to Africa and that all Security Council members were being briefed today about ideas for a settlement put to Britain and Argentina within the last 48 hours. Those ideas, Mr. Pym has said, he'll take back to London for consideration. But any progress on them in the near future is rather doubtful, because before leaving here, the Foreign Secretary said that he did not see an active negotiating role for the United Nations in the near future. Trevor MacDonald, ITN, at the United Nations in New York.
Mrs Thatcher has decisions to make tonight and tomorrow. She's now back in Downing Street after a weekend at Chequers. Our political editor says she'll see her inner cabinet first thing tomorrow, then a full cabinet, then to the Commons for questions and a statement, probably by Mr Pym. She needs to decide the next diplomatic and military moves over the Falklands and whether or not to brief the Liberals and Social Democrats now that Mr Foote has turned down all party talks.